Morning, you ready to go, Steve?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Let's have our flag salute.
Hey,
Here we are.
go ahead. Why don't you start us off?
All right. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
of
States
the
of
United
America,
States of America,
to the republic for which
and
it
to the
stands,
republic stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask everybody who's not actually, when you're not speaking, just please mute your mic so that we can avoid feedback. Anita, do you want to do a roll call?
I'd like to read the adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the provisions of the Senator Byron Bear Open Public Meetings Act by notice published in both the Asbury Park Press and the Newark Star Ledger and filed with the Lakewood Township Municipal Clerk. I'd like to take a roll call for attendance. Mr. Calabro.
Here.
Mr. Flansbaum. Oh, Mr. Calabro, hi. Mr. Halverson. Not yet. Mr. Katz. Not yet. Mr. Schuster.
Here.
Mr. Stafford Smith.
Here.
Hi, Greg. Mr. Kirschner. Thank you. Mr. Dicka is also here. Yes.
And Mr. Halverson is here.
And Mr. Halverson is here. Gotcha.
All right.
Okay. Minutes of our January reorganization meeting were distributed. Hopefully everybody had a chance to read them. Are there any corrections, or if not, we'll ask for a motion to approve.
I move to accept the minutes.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes? None? Accepted.
Okay. Anita, do you want to take us through the statement of accounts real quick?
Yes, the statement of accounts reflects activity over the past month. As you see that it's already growing in size. We've received payment from the Blue Claws for their first January payment. That was posted. Let's see. We have credit card. So you explain, so you understand anyway. The airport charge machine is processing, and also we have automatic payments for certain things like land leases and T hangers. They're showing up as ACH and credit card payments. Anytime you need to see a breakdown of them individually, I can provide that for you as you wish. The total amount that we have in our accounts at this time is $2,140,000, and there is still that escrow amount that is still showing. We haven't released the escrow to my knowledge. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, we're still waiting on the attorneys for the Schwartzblatt Group to come back so that we can make that transfer. So
Any way we can get rid of that penny and investors bank? We don't have to look at that.
Anita, you don't want to keep the penny?
I just had to cut the check and get the check signed, and I think I have a check that I can have you sign off for the penny. That's how we have to close it out.
Okay. Yeah, so we should do that.
So a statement of accounts is presented just for your acceptance. We do take a vote on it. A roll call vote is good enough.
Move to accept the statement of accounts.
All in favor?
Hal Halverson, second. All in favor? Thank you.
Ayes?
Okay,
Bill list.
so
Bill list. Bill list basically is statutory expenses, items that we have monthly. They are maintaining the Industrial Commission and Lakewood Township. We have it broken down for operations, Strand Apartments. The revenue from that is paying for maintenance and utility services. And on the Lakewood Airport, it is the telephone service, the fuel deliveries, and
Yes, the
management
trailer.
of the airport.
So let me just comment on two things there. One is on the Strand Apartments, the first item, the aggressive property maintenance. That's that is a payment that actually includes some extensive repairs that we had to do because we had a leak from the roof that damaged the ceiling that required scaffolding and so on and so forth. And that is, well, we don't really know that it came from the roof. It's speculation. And it's one of those things where we really weren't able to determine exactly where it's coming from. But that is not a one-time repair. That's a combination of a number of projects that basically has come to be paid at one time. So it's a number of repairs. The other thing
That's not good. If we don't know what the source is, then we might repeat the problem.
You basically you're plugging the leaks where you find them. So in some of the areas where we've had wet spots in that ceiling in the theater, were accessible with a stepladder. So the enormity of the project to repair them is much smaller. But when you have to bring in scaffolding and have a number of men working up on the scaffolds, it just becomes a much more expensive proposition. So that
Mike had mentioned to us that there was an issue with like ice forming on the roof and blocking the vents where the water sheds off of the roof.
Yeah,
Has that been an issue with what we've been dealing with the snow?
No, well, we haven't been able to trace it to anything like that, but actually as a matter of his monthly activities and certainly as weather events happen, they there regularly and make sure that there's no blockage in the water getting to those relief points. So
that's good.
You know, it's an older building. It has some of these challenges. We've invested a lot recently out of the capital accounts in upgrading systems. The roof is out there as, you know, it's workable, but it's something that we'll have to be looking for potential project at some point down the road. So we'll see about that. The Heck Trailers $300 item there is actually for one of the trailers that we took over that we hope to create kind of a training facility at the airport. So be a revenue generator and also an attraction point so people will be able to come and do training and or testing for their pilot's licenses there. The trailer that we were able to get for effectively no cost just has a bad door. So that will make the more workable. There may be some more expenses related to getting that up to speed, possibly flooring or things like that, but shouldn't be anything that extensive, and we should be able to get it running fairly soon. So that's on order. Hopefully that'll be in hand soon. Any other questions on the bill list? Not
move to accept the bills.
Second.
Okay.
Who's that?
That was Eddie.
Yeah.
Okay, here, roll call, please. Anita.
We'll have a roll call.
Am I up?
Yeah.
On roll call, Mr. Calabro,
Yes.
Mr. Flansbrough,
Yes.
Mr. Halverson,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster.
Yes.
Mr. Katz is here too.
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Katz. Mr. Katz,
Yes.
Mr. Stafford Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner.
Yes, except for item 4006.
Thank you.
Okey doke. So, okay, so I'm up, right? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Real quick, a couple of, most of what I have today is an executive session, but just a quick update for the record. The park and ride activity is still slated to kick off. I'm just going to mute your mic there for a second. Okay, thanks. So the Public Works was going to get started on the park and ride. There are some things that have to happen there in terms of moving a drainage pipe and actually going to wait for the final grading until they see what the neighboring property is building this huge retaining wall for the edge of their property. And so once that's set, it's going to make it easier for our guys to figure out the exact grading required. But the initial project was to take down the trees, and we weren't able to get started with that because of the snow event that we had. So while it had been scheduled for this past week and really into this week, it's now rescheduled for next week. But again, with the caveat, weather permitting, there are some reports of incoming weather, so we'll have to see how that plays out. But either way, that is a priority, and I think we've seen events happen over the last month or two where we're getting more and more issues coming to the fore with regard to on-street parking throughout the park in various sensitive spots where it's just becoming more and more of an issue. So it's really giving some more impetus to the approach that we're going to take with the Township Committee to reinstitute regulations restricting on-street parking. We've been working with the LIPAC group, which is a group of significant property owners throughout the park, and they were developing the initial list of streets that we were going to go at. And last I heard is that they're actually pushing for, let's just do it across the whole park. So it's, I think those who had been looking to protect certain areas for on-street parking have basically come around to the idea that it's a losing battle, that it really is not to anybody's benefit to allow on-street parking, because inevitably it just overwhelms the capability of trucks to move, and it reduces the attractiveness of the park. So right now we're doing great. Everybody's pretty much at 100% lease up capacity and so on. So they're not hurting for attraction, but on the other hand, there is still movement afoot to bring in newer and bigger tenants into the park, and having difficulty for traffic moving is never going to be a good thing for our park. So that's working. Lastly, I'll point you to the solutions that you have below. We've been planning this for some time and working with the projects management people at the Public Works for this coming spring season. We really would like to have better public access and use facilities at the airport. So just on the outside of the fence, so adjoining the parking lot, there's an area there where we can install without too much difficulty a number of picnic benches. So rather than the two basic park benches that we've had out there for years and years that really are not satisfactory for the viewing public that we have, we're looking to put in a number of picnic benches, which is basically like what you would see in a food court. We're gonna, with your approval, we'll look to do them in the Lakewood colors, and we'll separately be back to order some umbrellas, which we will only use on days when it's really sunny and the people need that kind of sun protection. Otherwise, they're going to sit as open tables, and we're going to put up 3 barbecue stations for them as well, things that you'd see in the local and county parks where people can either use the grill themselves, or for certain communities it means bringing a disposable disposable grills that you can buy in 7-Eleven or hopefully soon in our FBO, and people will be able to come and enjoy, just sit outside, adding to the park inventory of Lakewood. So hopefully we'll get your approval on that resolution a little later on. Everything else I have is in closed session. Any questions?
Any questions, Bob?
Okay. Attorney's report. I have actually spoke with Sean. I communicated with Sean this morning. Catherine Kim is sitting in for him today. I do have a item to report on, but again, it's in closed session. All right.
Sure.
Dave, do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Going back to the parking in the park, are there any streets that are going to be exempt from those regulations, or it's going to be a clean sweep, no parking in the park?
Well, that's the topic before us right now, and in our working with the business owners in the park who are kind of, that had volunteered to take the lead with determining which streets were most sensitive that we should go for. The last I heard last week is that they're coming around to the idea that we should just do it, as you say, as like a clean sweep. Unless there's like a cul-de-sac somewhere where, something can be a little bit more tolerable, but anything that's kind of a through street, we really see it as the kind of thing where we ought to have no on-street parking, An occasional client comes by, that was the way it used to be.
But originally, we were trying to shoot for having the whole park, no parking on the streets.
So we're hoping that's the result.
That started to erode away, and I guess we're back to square one again.
Yeah. So we're in a better place.
I think that's the best deal. Every favoritism.
That's our objective. Okay. Committee reports. I do see there was a plan that came before us. I don't know, Justin, has that come back to the planning board yet? The 475 Oberlin? Because I think they had pulled that.
Believe they
comments.
They had moved it.
Yeah, I think they moved it, but I don't know if it's come up yet again since we entered our comments.
Justin, are you aware whether or not 475 Oberlin Avenue, which is it's a large building that was going to build a 4-story new building adjacent to the industrial building?
Yeah, that was the Trust project on the corner of Oberlin and I think that was approved last week by the planning board.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, I think that was approved last week.
Okay. Yeah, so we had submitted comments on that, general comments related to parking, again, this issue, street parking and just traffic flow. So hopefully that was helpful to the planning board. Okay. I don't see anything else on here that's active for this month. How about our marketing and public relations person? Any report?
Yes, I did a press release on the LIC's reorganizational meeting, and we got some very nice news hits. I wrote about the Lakewood Chamber retreat. I wrote that on January 29th. I have not been able to get approval as yet. As soon as I do, I'll be sending that out as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Comments from the public? I didn't see anything in the emails. Anita, was there anything in the physical mail?
There's nothing in the physical mail. I have it open. Nothing is happening.
Okay.
And also the one here, the email here is nothing. Also, I went yesterday at noontime and there was nothing there either.
Okay. Great. Okay. There's no consent agenda on resolutions. We do have, Anita, do you want to read the resolution or by title?
The resolution number 210201 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of outdoor equipment for use in the public areas of Lakewood Airport, as described as picnic tables and barbecues to utilize as a park and for public viewing. And that's what the resolution for. It's not to exceed the amount of $14,500.
Thank you. And just so you know, that is a state contract vendor, and they do a lot of the work with our public works for the parks throughout the town. And so they'll provide the product, and our public works people will do install and whatever's necessary.
Yeah, I read the resolution. It looks like it's a good thing. I think it's something to be really nice for the airport. And I'd like to make a motion to accept resolution 210201.
I'll second.
Okay.
We need a roll call that.
Please.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Calabria.
Yes.
Mr. Flansdown.
Yes.
Mr. Halverson.
Yes.
Mr. Katz.
Okay. Schuster.
Yes.
Mr. Stafford Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, can we get a motion to go to closed session, and then Anita will read the resolution?
Make the motion to go to closed session.
Second?
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, can we like to read the resolution into
Please.
resolution, whereas section 7B of the Senator Byron and Bear Open Public Meetings Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting under circumstances, and whereas the Industrial Commission of the Township of Lakewood is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist. Now therefore be it resolved by the Industrial Commission of the Township of Lakewood in the County of Ocean as follows. The public shall be excluded from discussion of private and confidential matters involving any of the 9 exclusions as set forth in section 7B of said law and is hereinafter specified. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows: contract negotiations and litigation. It is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter will be made public only when the reasons for discussing and acting on them in closed session no longer exists. Said determination to be made by further resolution adopted by the Industrial Commission, and this resolution shall take effect immediately. I have it 11:52 a.m.
Okay, just hang on one second. So everybody, I just want to remind you that we're using the breakout sessions. So keep an eye on your screen. I'm going to enable the breakout sessions now, and you have to accept it to be in there. Otherwise, you're going to end up sitting outside wondering what's going on. So, okay, it should all be heading there now.
Hello.
Closed session. We're down to the last 3 items, Mr. Chairman. Comments from the chairman. Any comments?
No, nothing right now. Everybody stay warm and healthy.
Okay. Any comments from the commissioners?
Good.
Okay, everybody's talked out. All right,
Move to adjourn?
can we get a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Tom. Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.